The time is 6 o'clock. Good evening and welcome to the January 2024 meeting of the Omaha Public Power District Board of Directors. Thank you all for joining us in person at the Omaha Douglas Civic Center and remotely via WebEx. I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy and warm and off the roads. With me in person today are my fellow board members, Mike Kavanaugh, Matt Gore, Sarah Howard, Janice Molhoff, and Mary Spurgeon. Craig Moody is joining virtually on WebEx, and Amanda Bogner notified us ahead of time that she would not be able to attend the meeting today. We also have President and CEO Javier Fernandez, our General Counsel Steve Bruckner with the Fraser Stryker Law Firm, and members of our board meeting support staff. OPPD's executive leadership team and subject matter experts are also participating in today's meeting and via WebEx. Additionally, we currently have 2 members of the public at the Civic Center and 23 attendees on WebEx, consisting of OPPD employees and members of the public. Thank you for joining us this evening, everyone. I will now ask a member of OPPD's physical security team to provide the safety briefing for our location and for Javier Fernandez to provide other safety reminders.
Welcome, everyone. As we typically do, we'll start off with a quick safety briefing. As we know, the emergency exits are on either end of the room. We have stairways that go directly outside if we had to evacuate. If that was the case, hopefully we'll all stay warm doing so. We also have AED, first aid, fire suppression materials located at those exits, as well as extra materials in the back of the room. If anybody needs any assistance, please let someone from OPPD know. We'll try to get help to you as quickly as possible. We also have the advantage of being here in the county building where we have the access to the deputy sheriffs. As we all know, winter has reared its ugly head, so this is a good reminder to watch those roads. They can be very slick. Make sure that you're prepared for those winter types of driving, have equipment in your vehicle, and then if you do get stuck, please make sure your cell phone's charged. You have a way to call someone to get help, and always make sure that there's nothing blocking your tailpipe so you don't have anything issues with that. With that, I'll turn it back over to you. Have a great meeting.
Thank you, Josh. I'm going to follow up on psychological safety. On Tuesday, I talked about respect being one of the 5 pillars of psychological safety. As we approach complex situations, sometimes as we do these in emergency situations or in weather like this one, I think it's a foundational element of having a good relationship and good discussion is to come to the table with respect. We are sometimes stressed out, right? And so coming in with mutual respect is incredibly important to tone conversations down and have a good, respectful dialogue. I also talked on Tuesday about cybersecurity, the importance of not losing sight of the importance of cybersecurity, especially in times like these when our attention could be focused on other areas, on keeping our plants running, on arriving to the board meeting on time and fighting the traffic. I think this is where you could be distracted, and we are more vulnerable to clicking on malicious emails and links. So this is probably out of all the times, this is when we need to have our alerts the highest. Next slide, please. Focus for January, we're focusing after the holiday season. We always tell our employees it's fantastic to take some time off and to relax and re-energize, come back re-energize. And it is important for us to refocus right away. We don't have the luxury of slowly refocusing as the week goes by. You need to be fully focused the day you come back. And that has been a focus for January. Watching out for strains or tears is important, especially now with the weather we have. We have a lot of our employees working outside in the elements, and it is very slick outside, and very, very important for all of us as we go back home and as you are venturing outside. Make sure that you know where you're walking. There's black ice. There's a lot of ice that it's melting. So it's very, very important for us to do that. Walk like a penguin. That's something Kevin McCormick taught me. You may look funny, but you would look funnier if you were down on the floor. So walk like a penguin, stay up straight. And then using personal protective equipment is very, very important. Not only your hats and gloves and eye protection, but in this case with the elements, make sure that you're well prepared for that. And I want to just a shout out again. The weather outside is less than ideal, and we have many women and men working outside. And I ask you to keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Make sure that they can go home to their family safe tonight. They're all following all of our safety requirements, safety guidance, and that's important, but I would be remiss if I didn't call out how um, hazardous could it be outside. That's the end of my report.
Great, thanks very much. And brief correction, Troy Meyerson is here in place of Steve Bruckner as our legal counsel this evening. Thanks very much, Troy. Now let's run through our guidelines for the conduct of this meeting. This regular board meeting will follow the agenda made available to the public on OPPD.com. This meeting is being conducted in person with WebEx conferencing and is being recorded. Our board meetings have public comment periods on the agenda. Comments made by all parties during the meeting are part of the official public record. After the introduction of action items, board members will ask clarifying questions of staff, and then I will ask for public comment. After public comment, the board will conduct its discussion of the matter and then vote. Also, before we adjourn, there will be an opportunity to comment on other matters of district business. We'll take comments in the room first, then via WebEx. For in-person attendees, if you wish to make a comment, please line up behind the microphone in the center of the room. Please state your name, address, and the name of any organization or person you represent. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending. To assist you, we will use the timer that is in the room. Ms. Lane will signal when you have 30 seconds remaining, as well as when your time is up. If you have written materials, please deliver them to Ms. Lane. She will receive them on our behalf. For WebEx attendees, if you wish to comment, please send the meeting host a message using the chat feature or utilize the hand raise feature. Detailed instructions can be found on the OPPD website and at the link shown on the screen. When I call on a member of the public to speak, please affirm that we can hear you before commencing your comments online. Please state your name, address, and the name of any organization or person you represent. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending. To assist you, we will use the timer on screen and signal when you have 30 seconds remaining, as well as when your time is up. If you have materials to submit, please email them to corporatesecretary@oppd.com, and they will be received on our behalf. For all attendees, please direct your comments to me. I will either respond to you directly or defer response to another board member or officer of the district. The board values and welcomes civil, respectful, clear, and concise communication from the public. During public comments, speakers should refrain from repetitious, profane, or irrelevant comments. Speakers shall refrain from polling the board, as such vote is not on the agenda and is prohibited by law. Ms. Lane, will you please take the roll call?
Director Bogner is absent. Director Kavanaugh,
Here.
Director Core,
Here.
Director Howard. Here. Director Mulha.
Here.
Director Moody is on via WebEx. Director
Here.
Spurgeon.
Here.
Director Williams.
Here.
Notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing same in the Omaha World Herald, OPPD outlets, newsletter, oppd.com, and social media, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza, and by emailing such notice to each of the district's directors on January 12, 2024. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available for inspection on oppd.com and in this meeting room. The consent agenda items are as follows. Item 6, approval of the November 2023 financial report, December 2023 meeting minutes, and the January 18, 2024 agenda. Item 7, standing committee annual reports for 2023, resolution number 6622. Item 8, election of board officers, resolution number 6623. Item 9, board standing committee assignments, resolution number 6624. Item 10, award RFP number 6115, 15 kV metal clad switchgear, resolution number 6625. Item 11, approval of new retirement fund investment manager, resolution number 6626. Item 12, authorization for debt financing 2024-2025 series, resolution number 6627. Item 13, authorization for debt financing 2024-2025 sales, resolution number 6628.
There are no corrections, changes, or additions to the consent agenda items, and I need a motion and a second to approve these items.
So move.
Second.
We discussed these consent agenda items at the all committee meeting on Tuesday, January 16th. Do any members of the public in person have any comments on the consent agenda? So please come to the podium.
David Bagley, 4611 South 96th Street. I'm speaking with regard to items 12 and 13, where you are authorizing borrowing $819 million to purchase more wind and solar and install those items. So in our representative democracy, the ideal is to have people in leadership positions who are elected and have good judgment and prudence. Now, a lot of people aren't born with good judgment, but you can learn good judgment. And in fact, a Spanish Jesuit in the year 1647 wrote a book on it. I'm a little disappointed my Creighton classmate and friend Steve Bruckner isn't here because I gave him this book some time back. I know Steve values Jesuit education, and so he's familiar with these. So here's a few of them. Avoid committing yourself to risky enterprises. Wind and solar are risky. I think we've learned that. Weigh matters carefully and think hardest about what matters the most. What matters the most for OPPD is low cost and reliable power. Emphasis on reliable. Know how to choose. Most things in life depend on it. So, OPPD board, are you going to choose between net zero carbon or low cost and reliable power? Reconsider. Safety relies in looking things over twice. We hear and talk about safety every month here. So that's a top concern. So you should think about that. Here's my favorite, or the most applicable one here today. Open your eyes before it is too late. It's not too late to cancel your net zero carbon policy. So I've revised my resolution, draft resolution here. So Treasurer Stryker doesn't have to do it. Some whereases. Well, first one, we found out that OPPD has the inability to supply reliable power. And then here, it is reasonably foreseeable that people will die if there are forced electric blackouts of any duration in January in the Midwest. I've told you about the Center for the American Experiment. They studied Wisconsin and Minnesota, and they found in January there would be blackouts if they continue down that net zero path. So when you're in your beds tonight, all warm and safe, you should be
30
thinking about
seconds.
that. You know, people dying because there's no power. That's a big deal. As President Biden would say, no joke. It's not a joke. Serious business you're involved here. So here we go on. I've emphasized this numerous times with you. You have a dual statutory mandate, low cost and reliable power. Solar and wind power are neither low cost or reliable. So be prudent, exercise good judgment, and terminate your net zero resolution. Thank you.
Great. I'd like to offer CEO Fernandez an opportunity to respond to some points here.
Thank you. Just a clarification. The majority of the financing that we have contemplated for 2024, and that's all spelled out in our corporate operating plan, is to finance, most of it is to finance our natural gas fleet. Just for the record, I want to point that out, that the majority of the debt financing, the new money, not the refinancing, but the new money is mostly to finance natural gas turbines, generators, and everything that comes into the natural gas balancing stations. Thank you.
Great. Appreciate the clarification and reference to the corporate operating plan where that was detailed. Are there any other public comments in the room? Are there any public comments online about the consent agenda? Okay. Sounds good. Roll call.
Director Bogner's absent. Director Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Director Core,
Yes.
Director Howard,
Yes.
Director Mulhall,
Yes.
Director Moody is online, Director Spurgeon,
Yes.
Director Williams.
Yes.
The board discussion action item this evening is the resolution of appreciation for Kevin S. McCormick, resolution number 6629. Whereas Kevin McCormick, Vice President, Safety and Facilities of the Omaha Public Power District, OPPD, will conclude his service at OPPD on January 31, 2024, after more than 36 years of service. And whereas on August 10th, 1987, Mr. McCormick joined OPPD's Fort Calhoun Station maintenance staff. And whereas Mr. McCormick has progressed to hold several positions of responsibility, including manager, joint operations programs, manager, nuclear planning, and division manager, safety. And whereas Mr. McCormick was promoted to senior director, safety and technical training in April 2019, and then to vice president, safety and facilities in May 2022. And whereas Mr. McCormick was an exemplary leader in the development and implementation of OPPD's vision, mission, core values, and strategic directives in service to the district, and whereas Mr. McCormick cultivated a culture of safety at OPPD and championed accountability in employee safety, as well as the safety of the public in relation to OPPD operations. And whereas Mr. McCormick has remained dedicated to the ideals of public power, and OPPD's customer owners have benefited because of his commitment to providing affordable, reliable, and environmentally sensitive energy services. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Public Power and OPPD's customer owners have benefited because of his commitment to providing affordable, reliable. Just repeated that. Let me start over. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Omaha Public Power District, at a meeting duly convened on the 18th day of January 2024, desires to publicly acknowledge the important contributions of Kevin McCormick and to express its gratitude for the commitment, integrity, and pursuit of excellence consistently demonstrated during his years of service. Be it further resolved that a suitably inscribed copy of this resolution be presented to Kevin McCormick to serve as a constant reminder of the sentiments expressed herein.
I would make a motion to approve this resolution.
Second.
Are there any clarifying questions from board members before we open it up to public comment?
Does any member of the public have a comment on this action item? Room, seeing none. Anyone online? Seeing none. Great. Are there any comments from directors for this resolution? Dr. Kavanaugh.
Kevin, thanks for your service and dedication, and most of all, I cherish and will miss our conversations and your help and guidance through the years. Have a great retirement.
So Kevin, retirement is a wonderful thing. And I wish you well. Thank you for everything you've done to keep us safe. And as you always say, one accident is one too many. And we just hope that you are as safe in your retirement as you have been while you're working for OPPD. Thank you so much.
And I want to add my appreciation as well. I just in the past year, I think I've gotten to know you a little bit, and I have been so impressed with your wisdom and care and the way that you have worked with the people who report to you and how you encourage them and guide them. I think we're going to be sorry that you're gone. I think, and I'm sure they're missing you already. So I do also want to encourage you not to work too hard during your retirement because you can get very busy. And so just, set some boundaries there. But have a great time. Thanks so much for all your service.
Yeah, and Kevin, I'll just jump in. I don't talk a lot at meetings, but I wanted to say something about this because I think I was the first board member to tell you how upset I was when you said that you were retiring. I was like, Kevin, how dare you? But I'm also really excited for this journey for you. I feel like I learned a lot from you in particular about just function and structure within this organization, and that really helped me to be a better leader. And so I'm really grateful for that. So congrats on your retirement. Please enjoy it and actually take a break.
Excuse me, I'll echo that. I typically don't have too much to say, but I will say that I think you very much embody OPPD's culture, and I appreciate that. And all that service to one organization is pretty incredible. Thank you for all your service and congratulations.
Kevin, I also appreciate all you've done for the organization, especially to help lead the culture of safety. I think regularly outside of OPPD, I encounter places where the continual discussion about a focus on safety has influenced my own life. I approach my car and walk around it to make sure there's no obstructions. We had an opportunity to demonstrate safe practices on the way down here this evening, driving slowly, walking carefully from the car up to the building, and all of that comes from the safety briefings at the beginning of the meeting and the continual focus that you have helped to lead within this organization. And so I really appreciate the successful strategic directive monitoring reports that we've seen to achieve such high results over and over, and the way that everyone in the organization continually supports the work towards safety that you have helped to make so critical to the overall organization. And I know that it's going to continue to influence me. So I appreciate that from you and everyone you've helped to lead. And I also wish you the best in the future. I hope you find relaxation, and I hope you are safe tonight and from here forward. So thanks very much. Javier. Yep, appreciate the reminder, Aaron. Director Moody, you are online. Do you want to check
Yep.
see if we can hear you?
Yeah, no
Great,
worries.
go ahead.
Thank you. Just real quick, Kevin, I regret that I can't be here to shake your hand and express some gratitude in person. I just want to say that I've always admired and appreciated your steady and steadfast commitment to safety on behalf of so many people. What a difference you've made in the lives of many people and all of their loved ones as well. So thank you, thank you, and best of luck in retirement.
Kevin, I'm going to start by not talking to you, but to Jill. Jill, thank you. Thank you for sharing your husband with us for so many years. Thank you for saving his life. Thank you for that, because without that, we wouldn't be here today celebrating this amazing man who has contributed so much to OPPD. And it is no coincidence that you saved his life, because you're married to the safety guy who is probably was nagging you to get that CPR training, and it was put to very good use a few years ago. Kevin, I can tell you that I probably wouldn't be sitting here today if it weren't for having you on the team. You know, on my first day, in fact, during my interview process, I talked about safety being my #1 priority. Would have been really hard to jump on this job without having you leading our safety teams, leading by example with a safety culture. And it has been fantastic. Not only have you led safety, but then when I needed a leader to lead facilities, it was a really easy decision. And you said, yes, I'll do it. And you've done a fantastic job leading that team in just the short couple of years that you've been doing that. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss your guidance, your counsel. I can always count on you to come check on me on days like today when we're stressed. I can always count on Kevin giving me a call or texting me, how are you doing? For those in the room and for those on the phone, Kevin is not only responsible for the culture of safety at OPPD, but the culture of psychological safety. We learned mental health training because of you. Not only CPR, but QPR, how to identify suicide trends and what to do when you encounter that. So you're leaving a gigantic legacy. I know where to find you, so don't go too far. I would love to continue this relationship, but I'm so thrilled to be here celebrating such a long and fruitful career at OPPD. And so thank you. Best of luck in your retirement.
Ms. Lane, will you please call the roll?
Director Bogner's absent. Director Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Director Core,
Yes.
Director Howard,
Yes.
Director Mulha,
Yes.
Director Moody is online, Director Spurgeon,
Yes.
Director Williams.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Next item on the agenda is the President's Report. CEO and President Javier Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair Williams. We're borrowing readers. That's teamwork. As always, I start with baseload generation. This is important. I'm going to talk about the storm in just a little bit, but this is a report for December, which seems like a long time ago, but it was just a few weeks ago. Nebraska City Unit 1 and 2 had capacity factors in the 60%, 69 and 61% respectively. They were available most of the time. Nebraska City 1, 98%, and Nebraska City 2, 100%. Their availability the capacity factors are lower because we had high winds during a lot of the time during December, so we're balancing those stations. So don't let the 69% capacity factor distract you. Both units were online and they were available almost 100% of the time. North Omaha Unit 4 was coming out of an outage that lasted the entire month of November. It lasted a few days into December. That's why you see a lower capacity factor on North Omaha Unit 4. It was about had a 50% availability during the month of December. North Omaha 5 was available all month and had a few derates for repairs and inspection on coal mills, and that's why you see a lower capacity factor. But for the most part, our base load generation, coal generation, performed as expected in the month of December. Moving on to the next slide, our balancing generation, which consists of mostly natural gas units and a couple of fuel oil units, performed well. Cass County 1 and 2 had capacity factor of 0%, but they were ready with some maintenance outages, getting those ready for the later part of the month. Jones Street units, our station had a very low capacity factor, but we had some starts successful of that station. Sarpy County had probably the most activity in the month of December. Sarpy County units 1, 2, and 3 had all that activity. Units 4 and 5 were offline for longer term repairs, and they did not contribute to the capacity factor in December. North Omaha units 1, 2, and 3 had 0 capacity factor. It's just a reminder that North Omaha units 1 and 2 do not have fuel available, natural gas available during the winter months. Unit 3 does have natural gas available this year, but it did not run, I believe, in the month of December. Last slide on our generation fleet. I'm going to talk about the fleet in just a minute, but this is a very important part of our fleet, which is our renewable generation. Renewable energy contributed it had a capacity factor of 39.8%, almost 40% of capacity factors for renewables. All of these numbers are for December. You can see on the screen, community solar was 9%, wind was 36.5%. However, year to date, so this is the January to December numbers, renewable energy contributed 28.7% of OPPD's retail energy sales. Capacity factor for renewables was 41%, very high. Wind capacity factor was 36.9% for the entire year, and that's again as expected, if not a little bit better than expected. Next slide. Okay, so on Tuesday, I gave a little bit of a longer description, a status update. My intention is to do something similar, a little bit shorter this time around. Our teams responded really well in extreme weather. The storm that came to us on Thursday of last week into Friday that put a lot of snow and mostly cold temperatures really threw a lot of challenges to us. Our most impacted portfolio, part of the generation portfolio was our coal, were our coal units. And I want to give a shout out again to our women and men at OPPD. They've worked tirelessly for the past 2 years, winterizing those units, making sure that they can and they do withstand really low temperatures. We learn a lot of lessons from Winter Storm Uri. We've been learning a lot of lessons, not only from OPPD, but from around the industry. We've been implementing a lot of those lessons learned, and yet the units still tripped. And the units tripped because of the cold temperatures that eventually translated into ice on the river. You can see on the top right-hand corner, that is the water intake at our Nebraska City station. I believe this was taken on Sunday afternoon, almost completely frozen. So ice forming up at our water intakes, it's what started taking our units down. Eventually, just a few hours later, the river level, the water level just fell below any volume of water that we could have used to run those units. So if it was not the ice, it would have been water. We believe, and we don't have official figures yet, but we believe that we set record low levels on the Missouri River. For the past few decades that we've been measuring these, the lowest level of the Missouri River at our North Omaha station at the gauge in North Omaha were above 6 feet of water. Many, many decades of data. In 2022, in Christmas Eve of 2022, that went down to just above 4 feet of water. Very, very significant decrease. From 6 feet was the historic low down to 4 feet in 2022. And in 2023, it's not official yet, but we believe that gauge was probably at sub 4 feet of water. Further, yesterday morning, we believe that the Nebraska City gauge, river gauge, bottomed down at 0.6 feet of water, 0.6 feet of water. There was half a foot of water from the river bed to the surface. No, that's not at the intake valves. That is at the river gauge. There's virtually no water, right? And so there's really not that much that our teams can do in keeping the units running and operating if you don't have that water coming in to help cool the units. Nebraska City 2, however, we were able to bring that unit back up. So at one point in time during Sunday, we had all 4 units offline. All 4 of our coal-based generation units that have been incredibly reliable. We had piles of coal outside. That's reliable. But there are many other pieces that play a role in keeping those units on. And in this case, again, the availability of water made us trip those units. Nebraska City Unit 2 is the most modern of all 4. That was built in the mid-2000s. It came online in 2009. That unit has a cooling tower, which means it needs significantly less volumes of water than the other 3. Because of that, we were able to bring Nebraska City Unit 2 back online sometime on Monday. It has been online for this week, on and off, not a full speed. It was at full load earlier today. We've had to derate it, but that unit is online today because it takes less water. North Omaha Units 4, 5, and Nebraska City Unit 1 remain offline. They have been offline all week. We expect them to remain offline through tomorrow. However, the good news is that river levels are coming back up. We are already seeing that happening at our North Omaha station. We are yet to see that in Nebraska City, that's downstream. If the projections continue to materialize, we believe that we should be able to bring all 3 units back online sometime during the weekend, if not early next week. I want to, again, the efforts to keep those units ready to run as soon as the water levels are up are nothing short of heroic. As we speak today, we have many employees who are working outside in the elements, thawing, making sure the ice is melting off the parts of the unit that hasn't been working so that when river levels are safe to operate, we can turn those units back on. So I talked about these on Tuesday. The same wind that froze the river, the same wind that created these water conditions in the Missouri River, was the same wind that was powering our wind generation fleet. And our generation fleet, our wind generation fleet, performed beautifully. We had very, very strong wind, very strong power coming from wind turbines, and that helped offset and provided what I call a natural hedge against the elements we got from the river. Now, it could have been exactly the opposite. And in fact, we've had that happen before where the wind is not producing as much as we needed to produce, and then our coal units have picked up that. So I spoke about the importance of having a diverse generation fleet, and we certainly benefited from having that this past week. Our balancing stations is next. These are the natural gas and fuel oil generation stations. They performed well, not without a lot of issues and troubleshooting. We were able to bring Sarpy County Unit 5 online. If you remember from my report just a few minutes ago, that unit was offline for an extended period of time. We were supposed to bring it back online around this time of the year, and we did. What we were not planning is to do that at negative 30 degrees. And we were able to bring it back online. Again, lots of work and troubleshooting and changing filters, fuel filters, et cetera, but those units are back online and ready to produce. So our balancing station fleet, by and large, operated well. But we're not out of the woods. Our Chief Operating Officer, Troy Vai, is not here in the room because he's out with the teams, ensuring that he's leading the organization from an operational perspective, making sure that everyone is safe. We have people working out in the elements, and that has been our number one priority. Make sure that if something doesn't feel safe, if we're not safe, we're not going to proceed with work. But so far, everything is looking like we should be able to bring all of our baseload generation back online this coming weekend. Next slide, please. So there are many moving parts here. One is how much power we can provide. Two, do we have the high voltage transmission system to move power from the entire region, sometimes as far as Pennsylvania, moving power into Nebraska. That transmission system performed well. There were some concerns because loads would cause some of the lines to be congested, but by and large, our transmission system performed really well. Something that performed really well too, our customers. I've said this before, our customers did what Nebraskans always do. We respond to the call for help. We help each other out. When we sent out notices via email and voicemails and many different means to customers to conserve power, to get ready to conserve power. We did that for many reasons. One, of course, to help balance the grid, but two, with something in mind where we have a lot of customers, especially in the rural areas, that are all electric heating. We wanted to make sure that they got the signal that to start turning their generators on. When it's negative 30 and you have fuel oil generators, you have diesel generators, it was important for us to send that signal that you need to make sure that you have those generators available and ready to run when you need to run. Again, thank goodness we didn't have to curtail. We did not have planned outages, but I can tell it's in great part because of how customers showed up. As time went by from Sunday into Monday into Tuesday, more and more customers were able to come online and either reduce their electric consumption or turn on their generators. The combination of both resulted in, on Tuesday, we had our maximum of 75 megawatts that were curtailed between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11 a.m., which is fantastic. That is equivalent to one of our Sarpy County units. It's adding another generator to our fleet in the form of our customer owners responding to the call, which is fantastic. So I want to thank our customer owners, all residential, commercial, industrial, homes, grocery stores, hospitals, and data centers alike. Everyone came to and responded to the call. Next slide. I talked a little bit about this, and I'll be brief. The diversification of our generation fleet is essential, and this week was a great example of how important having that diversity is. When our baseload coal-fired generation was not able to come online, the rest of the fleet responded. Having natural gas and fuel oil balancing stations ready, fueled up, and ready to operate was incredibly important. Wind, as I mentioned earlier, this time around, wind played a very important role. Not only our OPPD wind generation fleet, but the entire Southwest Power Pool and even beyond. The Southwest Power Pool imported significant amounts of power from neighboring regional transmission organization, or RTOs. We believe a big portion of that was wind generation. And even solar generation. This is something that I talked about on Tuesday briefly. We do not currently own a lot of solar generation. We have 5 megawatts on our community solar project in Fort Calhoun. Coming up in May, we will have a Platteview Solar with 81 megawatts coming online. But I want to point out that even our community solar facility produced energy. It was very cold, but it was sunny. And out of 5 megawatts of potential generation, that array produced anywhere between 2.5 and 4 megawatts during the daylight hours. So I am I am very excited about what the future has for us. I'm going to tie these to the near-term generation resolution the board approved in August. It has diversity. It adds to the diversity that we need on our generation fleet, not only by technology, but also another important element of diversity is location on the river, off the river, north, south, east, west, making sure that we have generation that is located in as diverse of a location as we can, because we have tornadoes, we have floods, we have droughts, we have winds, and so having a diversity of location is important, and size. We have been moving to having more and more arrays or turbines that are smaller in size, so that when you lose one, you don't lose a big part of your generation. So um, I want to emphasize that we have really good plans. These storm that hit us didn't just hit OPPD, just hit in Nebraska. There are many other utilities on the West Coast, on the East Coast, and in the South that are still they're still recovering from the storm. We are we're in a really good position. I want to remind the public that this year in 2024 we are bringing online almost 700 megawatts of new generation to our fleet, 681 to be precise. Two brand new natural gas peaking stations, balancing stations, and one new solar array coming online for our customer owners this year. And we're already working. The board approved about 2.5 gigawatts of new generation. We're already working. We're ordering turbines, generators, transformers. We're busy putting places on queues, making sure that we have all of that coming so that we can put those assets online as fast as we possibly can. That's it for for the storm. I could go on and on, but the next slide. Kevin didn't know I was going to do these, or maybe you did, but I want to brag a little bit about safety. 2023 was OPPD's safest year on record, which is fantastic, and we couldn't have planned this better, Kevin. The day that we were celebrating your retirement, and we're celebrating OPPD's safest year on record. Previously, 2018 was the safest year we've had. We beat that record in a few categories. We had one less DART case, days away, restricted or transfer cases. And again, this doesn't happen by accident. It's by a lot of really good, disciplined approach to our safety culture. And you can see a few here. You can see preventable vehicle incidents. The severity rate went down significantly. We're not only counting how many incidents we had, but they're significantly less severe than we had in 2018. People are still getting hurt, but they're also getting hurt in a lesser way. In terms of costs, right? The costs that we're incurring to help with those also came down significantly. So by all measures, we did much better than 2018. We're not resting. I'm very pleased, but not satisfied. As you said, one injury is one too many. But I do want to celebrate this, especially as you're here. And I think I mentioned this to you a few weeks ago, and we'll never know, Kevin. We will never know how many families are enjoying their loved ones tonight at home because of what you did at OPPD. We'll never know because they never got hurt. There are moms, dads, brothers, sisters, daughters, and sons who are tonight having dinner at home and they're enjoying life because they didn't get hurt. We'll never know, but you need to know that as you're retiring, all those families are grateful to you, and I am very grateful to you and to your team. So you're gonna, if I don't mention your team, you're gonna get mad at me. So it's your team who did this too. 2023 safest year on record. Very, very proud of that. Do you want to provide some comments? And I will continue with my president report. Can you go back one?
but I'm like many of the board members, I don't talk much in meetings either. So I'm gonna hold this to about 40 minutes. First of all, I want to thank Javier and the board for just the very kind words. That mean a lot to me and my family. So thank you for that. And what I'll say is not many people get to start with a company and be there 36 plus years and have the opportunity, a company that provides personal growth opportunities along the way. And also allowed me to spend quality time as a dad. Really means a lot to me. It has been a privilege and an honor to work for OPPD. I want to thank some folks in the room, my fellow ELT members, the friendships, and the service that we provide. It's just unbelievable. Most people don't even realize the work that goes in that these folks do. So I appreciate that. My direct reports and business unit employees, they work their tails off and many hours and do great things. And I really appreciate all they do for the company. I also want to thank all the OPPD employees, past and present, for their service. What I usually say is when most people come in storms, we're going out. And so, you know, we're kind of like firefighters. So that means a lot. And finally, I want to thank my family for the support during my career. Little story. Very early in my career, like within the second year, one of my coworkers set me up on a blind date. And that date ended up to be my best friend and wife, Jill. And I want to thank Jill for your support over the years. Sacrifices, dedication you give to me and our family. And with that said, I want everybody to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And you're not done. You still have a couple more weeks, so we'll have an opportunity to celebrate more. Continuing to the President's report, honoring our community, the Mart Setke Month of Giving honors one of our most fearless and transformational leaders, Mart Setke, who lost her battle with cancer this 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago. Funds raised support the area United Way of the Midlands, OPPD's Energy Assistance Program, and other charities. Our employees and retirees generously donate money and even vacation, which results in OPPD raising $273,469 for last year's campaign, which is fantastic. And you know, I remember Mart very frequently, but it's fantastic to see these every November. Her picture is in our building, and it just reminds me of how important it is to think of others and in such an important way here. On the right, the picture on the right is on the awards. OPPD received 2 awards at the Center of Energy Workforce Development Summit, which was held back in November. OPPD accepted the Community Partner Award, which recognizes companies for developing unique connections with the local community, with educators, minority-facing organizations, workforce systems, or other groups. That has yielded demonstrated results in fueling the talent pipeline that we are enjoying at OPPD. The other award was for Joyce Cooper, OPPD's Director for Diversity and Inclusion, who received the Workforce Champion Award, celebrating an individual who has shown extraordinary leadership in the workforce development arena by creating meaningful change that will influence, mobilize, and energize a diverse, skilled talent pipeline. I'm very, very proud of both individuals. Makel couldn't be here in person. I think she's online, and Joyce Cooper, who does fantastic work for the district. Next slide, please. I'm almost done. Just a reminder, it feels weird to talk about running and walking outside in a day like today, but trust me, it will get better. Director Matt Core is helping chair the event this year, along with our friends at the Metropolitan Utilities District. Just a reminder that we are teaming up MUD and OPPD to raise money, and 100% of the funds raised go to the Energy Assistance Program. This year, the event will be held on March 4th at the Exarban Village in Omaha, Nebraska. And you can start registration at the heatthestreetsomaha.com. You have the link right there in front of you. And last but not least, we've talked a lot about safety. Well, this is a good reminder of the sacrifices that not only our employees but their families make, remembering those we lost in the line of duty. Paul Neiman died on June 19, 1989 from injuries sustained during a ground vault accident in downtown Omaha. Fellow splicers, Frank Dornicki and Carla Fitzpatrick, were also injured in the accident. This is an accident that happened not that long ago. Some employees still remember that very well. Paul was 46 years old and had been with OPPD for 19 years at the time of his death. He was survived by his wife Joyce and his daughter Charity. And that, Chair Williams, completes my President's report.
Great, thanks very much. And as I've already signed up for the Heat the Streets and Walk for Warmth, that is on March 2nd. It said 4th on the screen. I just want to clarify for everybody. It is on the Saturday, right, Matt? Yeah, you're not having an event during the week or anything. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yep, nope, just want to make sure people who are listening now and are going to go out there and register and join us for the event, it is on that Saturday. With that, the last item on the agenda is the public comments. Does anyone in the room have a public comment?
David Begley, 4611 South 96th Street. I'm keeping up on all these blackouts that are happening. Hawaii had one recently, and the province of Alberta almost blacked out. They had to rely on Saskatchewan. And the common element there is unreliable wind and solar. So open your eyes before it's too late. World Herald ran a story on the 16th. And I have a few comments. Don't rely on the Army Corps of Engineers. They have historic bad judgment and bad performance. So we got 6 inches of water in Nebraska City, but a few years back, it was a massive flood. Okay, maybe you have some design issues regarding your water intake. You know, MPPD has their Gerald Gentleman coal plant out in Hastings. They don't have a river. How do they cool that or whatever they're doing? I don't know. And here, if you've got a problem with the river and ice, dynamite it. I know the NRD does it. Then there was a comment, something about hope. You know, we'll help to get these lights or these plants running again. Hope is not a strategy. Hillary Clinton told us that. She was right. You know, when I turn on the lights, I don't hope they turn on. I expect them to turn on. So the World Herald had a real nice picture in that story, which showed Mid-America Energy's plant at Lake Manahaw running. So, or were the conditions that different on the east bank of the Missouri River? What if there is no wind? What if, and I learned tonight that MUD doesn't supply natural gas in the winter. What's up with that? I think Fraser Stryker's got to fix that for you somehow. You got to get a different supplier or something. Solar, well, that's de minimis. That's de minimis. So last month I learned for the first time that MUD doesn't have to supply gas in the winter, nat gas. But that is a real problem, particularly if you're, okay, so what happens? You know, no wind, coal-fired plants are out, MUD doesn't supply the nat gas, you can't buy from the pool. Then what happens? Well, I'll tell you what happens. There's no power and people die. That's a real problem. You're in the reliability business. So you got to figure out what matters most. Reliability. That's job one at OPPD. Now, Director Williams said OPPD last month is in the business of improving lives of people here and around the world. Well, no, you're not. You're in the business of low cost and reliable power. You don't owe any duty to anybody else in the world. And your net zero carbon policy is about something in the future. You got to take care of reliability right now. That's it. Thank you very much.
CEO Fernandez, would you like to clarify anything?
Yes. I cannot speak for other utilities. I'm going to leave that to them, but I can tell you, I can tell the public, it's important to understand OPPD was not alone with outages in the Missouri River. We have intelligence, we have data. There were many other units that rely on water from the Missouri River which were offline the same time, if not longer time than ours. Units that were upstream than us on the Iowa side, also units who were downstream, down all the way in Missouri and Kansas. Even one of the units on the power station that was mentioned just a few minutes ago was offline. It was offline as early as today. So this has affected all of us who have been on the Missouri River. It depends on which part of the Missouri River you're in, depends on the depth, it depends on the flow. We're very, very happy to see that Cooper Nuclear Station did not lose power. That was fantastic, and we're all cheering for that. There are different parts of the river that carry different water levels, and but I can say that by and large, the majority of the power stations that rely on Missouri River water had issues. Many of them were offline, not just our plants. Also, to clarify, North Omaha Unit 4 does not use gas. That's just to set the record straight. The reason why North Omaha Units 1 and 2 do not have gas supply, it has nothing to do with a contract. It has to do with pipeline capacity. Those pipes were built many decades ago. In North Omaha, there is not enough capacity to move enough volumes of gas to heat homes and to provide that fuel for the station. So I just wanted to clarify those 2 points. They're very important. Thank you.
Appreciate the clarification. Anyone else in the room have a comment on any other matter of district business? Anyone online have public comments?
David Corbin.
Hello, David. Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can. Please go ahead.
Okay. First of all, best wishes to Mr. McCormick and thanks for his honorable career. And congratulations for all the hard work that OPPD's been doing during this extreme weather. By the way, David Corbin, 1002 North 49th Street, representing Nebraska Sierra Club. We've heard a lot of testimony about Ignatian principles and values and Jesuits. And having been a teacher of energy policy at Creighton University, and having been teaching at the time when Laudato Si came out, the encyclical letter issued by Pope Francis, I just want to point out that the 3 main elements of Ignatian pedagogy, which is where Jesuit principles are experience, reflection, and action, and Laudato Si, the encyclical letter by Pope Francis, said our commitments and contributions to sustainability are outlined in 7 Laudato Si goals: response to the cry of earth, response to the cry of poor, ecological economics, adoption of sustainable lifestyles, ecological education, ecological spirituality, and community resilience and empowerment. Those are also things that that I think should be considered, because those are things that are taught in the Jesuit values at Creighton University. I'm glad also that OPPD was present today at the Climate Action Plan, and that Jeremy Bauer was very instrumental in helping us come up with some ideas. And I did send an email to all of the senior staff and board, hoping that OPPD will match Lincoln's heat pump incentives. I got an email back telling me what you have, and I already knew that. I'm just hoping that you can make yours as good as Lincoln's, and that you can also do as they are doing, is having a greater incentive for people of lower income. And thank you, and I hope everybody has a safe trip home.
Thanks very much. Are there other comments online?
John Pollock.
John Pollock, 1412 North 35th Street, Omaha. The good news about the weather is that this is the last cold blast for a while. The snow that was falling earlier, and by the way, it never issued a snow squall warning once in my entire career at the Weather Service, but that's moved on past. We're down to flurries. The next couple of days are going to be quite cold, but not as cold as it was early in the week. The air upstream from us is not as cold as what came down last week. And in fact, we are in a warming pattern after Saturday. By Monday, it ought to be above freezing. And it looks like sort of a gradual thaw for the most part next week. We do have chances of light rain even, along with possibly some light snow on Tuesday. But basically, the whole pattern is shifted. We're going to have relatively mild weather through the end of the month. I cannot see what will happen in February yet. There is potentially time for the weather, the cold air in Canada to reload and send some more down on us, but it's going to take a while. I did want to mention a couple things about the river readings that Javier was referring to. And thank you for the whole report, by the way. I had a chance to look up Nebraska City. One thing to keep in mind, those numbers on the river stage are relative to the standardized gauge level, which is set by the USGS. It's not to the bottom sediment of the river, which moves around. So the actual record low stage at Nebraska City is minus 0.28 feet. And there were 4 stages recorded below a half foot, but none of them since the early 1970s. So it may be that the sediment has shifted or that the river was being managed differently back then. One thing you should know is that on the National
30
Weather
seconds.
Service website, yes, excuse me, it says that at a level of minus 2.5 feet, water intake structures begin to shut off. I'm guessing that's the municipal water supply for Nebraska City. I would recommend contacting the Weather Service and letting them know the impact it has on your operations so that that can be incorporated into the river forecasts. And I see I'm out of time.
Thanks very much, John. Are there other comments online? Great. No more comments online. With that, everyone stay warm, stay safe, enjoy the weekend, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.